you know, what's good for the Jews and what's bad for the Jews.
Let's see if we can do a little historical perspective right now, because number one, your name at a certain point was from when I was a kid. I'm 39 now. Your name was at a point synonymous to me. I grew up in Georgia, was synonymous with the Klan. It was like David Duke. We would make jokes about someone, and then what? So we have a lot of people right now who may not know who you are or have a misunderstanding of who you are. So what we're going to do before this even happens, before people start writing in the calls, we're going to allow me to read something and you to dispel some things. Right now, if you just looked at your Wikipedia, it says an American white nationalist, anti-Semitic conspiracy theorist, far-right politician, former Grand Wizard, and Ku Klux Klanman. Now we'll stop there. Okay. You and I talked about before I went on air last night. We talked about this idea of being former, and I argued a little bit with my audience. Yes. You talked about why do they refer to you immediately before anything else, not a Republican House of Representative, a person in the House of Representatives. They immediately refer to you as that. How do you feel about that title? And I like the explanation you gave me of what happened if they did that to everyone.
Well, you know, it's obvious. I mean, you know, Robert Byrd, who was a senator in the United States Senate, he was a former Klansman. And in fact, Obama eulogized him at the funeral and praised him. The Wikipedia on Mr. Byrd doesn't start off with former Klansman Mr. Byrd. Harry Truman joined the Klan at the ripe old age of 41. I just joined as a young man. I was out of the Klan 15 years by the time I was 41. So there is a double standard, and you got to ask yourself, why is the double standard? And I think the double standard is very clear, that these guys went along with the Jewish supremacist power in America, and I haven't. I recognize the damage that's been done to this country. I recognize who the real racial supremacists are. Now, yes, I joined the Klan, and I tell you, one person says, you know, do you renounce it? I don't renounce what I did. I was never violent toward any African Americans. I always spoke in the idea that we have to have equal opportunity in this country, the best qualified you get the jobs, promotions, and scholarships. What I said was that I believe America was the Constitution, our way of life, our culture was European, and we had a right to preserve our way of life, and that we were going to lose our basic rights. And I think that's taken place. And I think the people taken over have been these Jewish extremists. I don't believe, I know this is going to be strange, and a lot of African Americans might disagree with this, at least initially. I can show you some things why the real privilege in America is not European Americans, not by any stretch of the imagination. For instance, when you talk about privilege, you've got to talk about the real elite in America. Who are the real controllers of our media, which is a very powerful force, obviously, in America? Who are the real controllers of the most important financial institutions like the Federal Reserve,